Today, we're going to make gingerbread cookies. Long time ago, back in the 1980s, I lived in Montgomery, Alabama, and I was reading the newspaper. In that newspaper was a recipe for gingerbread cookies. And I thought, this sounds pretty interesting. And I made it, and oh my goodness, every year since then we have made gingerbread cookies and iced them. They are the best things. They're really soft and they just have a really good flavor. Welcome to Southern Glance with Gail. Okay, to begin our gingerbread cookies, we've got a saucepan and we're going to put in 3/4 of a cup of water. It's just lukewarm, it's just right out of the faucet. We're going to put in 2 cups of sugar and 1/3 cup dark Karo syrup. One 1.5 teaspoons ginger, 1.5 teaspoons cinnamon. I might have added just a little bit more of that cinnamon and the cloves, 1 teaspoon cloves, and I might have had heaping on all of those. And then we're just going to stir this and we're going to bring it to a boil. So we're using a whisk, a silicone whisk, because that can withstand heat a lot. While we're waiting for this to come to a boil, you need to take 3 sticks of butter and go ahead and melt those, but it can't be hot. So we've melted 3 sticks of butter and we're just letting it sit and cool because we're going to pour that in as soon as this comes to a boil. It's coming to a boil, so now we have turned off the heat. We're going to take it off the heat and we're going to add in that butter and stir it. Alright, so now that it has boiled, we're going to pour in the 3 sticks of butter and we're going to just whisk that in, and we're going to keep on stirring until that's all stirred in. If you look in the description part of this video, then I'm going to go ahead and put in the ingredients list and the recipe down there. I'm also going to put in links of things that you can view or purchase, like this whisk or one of the silicone's whisk, because you definitely need a whisk that is for high temperature. And also for the pot holders like that. I just love these pot holders. They're the best things, and they're easy to make and they're good gifts. Okay, I think that's pretty much stirred in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put water, cold water, in our sink, and we're going to put this pan in that sink so that the water will cool it off. You have to make sure that no water gets in the pan, so we're going to kind of fill up the sink first, and then, but not very much, and then we're going to put our pan in. Okay, we've got enough water. We're going to move our faucet out of the way, and we're going to very carefully put this in the water. You might have to just make sure no kids or husband or spouse or anything, nobody turns the water on to splash it. It just needs to cool for about 5 or 10 minutes. We are now finished letting our gingerbread mixture chill with the water. So now we're going to put our gingerbread mixture and we're going to put it in our mixing bowl. I'm using a KitchenAid because I love the KitchenAid. It's so wonderful. All right, now we transferred our gingerbread mixture into this mixing bowl. We're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, but we're not going to add it just yet like this. We're going to mix it with a little bit of water. So I'm going to pour just a little bit, just enough to make sure that the baking soda is kind of moist. We're going to stir that around, and that's all I need. That might be maybe 1 teaspoon of water. And we're going to stir it real good. And now we're just going to, we're through with the whisk for right now. We're going to go ahead and use the spatula. And we're just going to empty that baking soda and water straight in here. And we're going to just stir it. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be much. Oh, I wish you could smell this. With all the spices, it smells so good. Now we're going to put this in our mixing bowl. I'm gonna add 6 cups of flour, just a little bit at a time. We're gonna be kind of coordinated. We're gonna let this go very slowly. Okay, now that we are finished mixing the flour in here, we are ready to get it into the refrigerator for the night. Then we're just gonna let it set. Then tomorrow, we are gonna roll it out into gingerbread cookies. We're gonna make them, we're gonna roll them out into gingerbread cookies. We're gonna bake them and decorate them. So what I have found over the years is that we're gonna put parchment paper. I've got this large bowl right here. I'm gonna put parchment paper right on top of it, and I'm just gonna empty this. I'm not spraying that, I'm not putting oil in it, but I'm just gonna kind of dump this in this large bowl, just like that. When we get it out tomorrow, all we have to do is pull the parchment paper out, and we've got it. Before, it was so hard trying to spoon the dough out and spoon it out, and it was so tough. It was like ice cream, spooning it out. It was so... By using the parchment paper, it really helps, because in the morning time, all we're gonna do is just gonna pick the parchment paper up and roll it out. It's very easy to do like that. We're gonna put plastic wrap on top of this. Sink it in, kind of like it's protecting. And then we're going to just cover it with the parchment paper. And that's protected for the night. So you can put it in the refrigerator for just a few hours. I always put mine in overnight, and it works out just fine. So we will see you in the morning. The gingerbread dough has been in the refrigerator overnight. And so now we're ready to go ahead and get it out and cut it out. And so this is what we're gonna do. So remember that we had the parchment paper. We wrapped it all in parchment paper. We're gonna just take the parchment paper all together out. And unwrap it. And we're gonna roll it right on here. And actually, I'm going to add some parchment paper because it's going to actually roll bigger than this parchment paper. So what we're going to do is we've got 2 sheets of parchment paper. We put a light dusting of flour on them, and we're just going to roll the gingerbread dough out. The gingerbread dough has been out of the refrigerator, and I've let it set for about an hour because it was just too hard to roll out. And so now we're ready to roll it out. If you can imagine that this is a clock, 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and you're just gonna roll from the middle out. And if the dough sticks to your rolling pin, just put a little bit of flour on there, and we're just gonna roll it very gently all the way around. And we're gonna roll it to about 1/2 inch thick. Now if you want thinner and a little bit more crispier cookie, you can roll it thinner than that, and you can bake it a little bit longer. Just do whatever tastes good to you, but mine, I like it really soft. So I roll mine out so that it's, I'm gonna show you this. Here's my cookie cutter, that's the width of it. And so it comes all the way to the edge of it, and that's about 1/2 of an inch. So that's what I roll it out to. And it makes a lot of gingerbread cookies, a bunch of them. So we'll be back after we roll this out. Now that we've rolled it out, and it might not be quite 1/2 of an inch, you just kind of have to play with it and see what works best for you. But if it's too thick, you can always roll it out a little bit more. I'm going to put a little bit of flour right here, and I'm going to just dip my cookie cutter into the flour. And first of all, I just like this little bitty gingerbread cookie, and it spreads so it's not nearly this small, but it's a good size. I think I need to roll it out just a little bit more. We're going to fit about 6, maybe 8 cookies on a cookie sheet. This is about how thick that I am cutting it. And I'm just making sure that whenever I place it on the cookie sheets, they look really nice. I'm not in a hurry, so I'm just gonna bake one pan at a time. And while I stick this one into the oven, I'll get the next one ready. I think we'll change up the shapes a little bit. But this one is ready for the oven. We're gonna cook it at 350 for about 6 to 10 minutes. Whenever the sides of it just begin to get brown, then it's done. You don't want it to be overly done. So this one, how about let's put some candy canes on it. Now the smaller the shape, the more cookies that you will be getting. So with this star, I'm not gonna make the star because that's a big star right there, and that will take up most of the dough. So I don't want to do that. I might just do one candy cane or maybe a couple. And then a tree, maybe a stocking, another gingerbread, if your cookie cutter has flour on the back of it, just kind of tap it off. Now we've got this one ready for the oven. See? Isn't that so cute? I just pulled the first batch out of the oven. This is what it looks like. Right here. Oops. It's hot, of course. So I'm going to let it set just a little bit in the cookie sheet, and then we're going to put them on wire racks so that they can cool. Once you have all the cookie shapes cut out and your dough looks like this, all I do is I gather all the dough up, and I'm just going to make a pile. I try not to put any flour on there because that's going to add extra flour on there and make them a little bit heavy. So we try to kind of shake the flour off. But I'm just going to go ahead and make it into a ball, and we're going to start over, go ahead and roll it out and start again. And that's what I do until I get to the very end. And then if I have just a little bit of dough, like this much, then I just pat around by hand. I make a circle and I cook it like that because it all tastes good. So we're going to go ahead and do this part. The cookies have come out of the oven. They have cooled. I've already started decorating them, and I'm going to show you the rest of the gingerbread cookies. All right, to start off with, we need icing for the gingerbread cookies. I make a royal icing, which is powdered sugar, and it's this meringue powder right here, and it's also water or lemon juice. I'm using lemon juice because of the gingerbread cookies, but you can easily just use water if you need to. If you use water, go ahead and put in almond extract and vanilla extract, but I'm going to just use these 3 ingredients. So right now I've got 3 cups of powdered sugar. I'm going to add to that 1/4 cup of this meringue, and you can just buy this. I'll put a link down, but you can also buy it at Walmart if you need. I'm going to very carefully stir this together with a whisk, And this actually does really, really well with a mixer, but I just wanted to use a whisk. I've always used a whisk for this, and I'm just gonna go ahead and use a whisk. You need to watch out for the lumps though. Now, because I put in 1/4 of a cup of the meringue, I'm gonna also put in 1/4 of a cup of lemon juice. Now, we'll probably have to add a little bit more, but that's all I do. And we're just gonna whisk it. Now, if it gets, you want a kind of a heavy, thick consistency, maybe kind of like honey, but if it's not as much as you want, then you can always add more confectioner's sugar if it's too thin, or more lemon juice if it's too runny. Now, if you don't like lemons, then you might not like the lemons on the gingerbread cookies, and that's where you would just make a different icing just with the water. This, the meringue topping is in place of egg whites. This recipe has 0 eggs and 0 egg whites. Okay, I'm gonna take this over here and I'm just gonna whisk it really good. And it's kind of thick. It's too thick, it's not like honey. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of more lemon juice in there. Okay, I think that probably does it, because it's kind of like honey right now. Okay. Now, this is not too tart at all because you've already got the confectioner's sugar in it, so it kind of sweetens it up. Now, in order to start decorating, we're going to use just this bag. This is the decorating bag. You can use a Ziploc bag. You can do any bag that you want. And I'm going to put a tip. This is actually tip number 2. And I'm going to put it on top of this, the topping right here. And I'm going to cut just a little tiny little hole at the tip of this bag. And I'm going to slide this in the bottom of it. Yeah, that works right there. Now I'm going to put this part right here on, right inside of that. And I'm going to put the topping, I'm going to put this part and I'm going to screw it on top of it. Now I'll put a link in the description bar about this. And now I've got that all set. I'm going to put it in a glass and I'm going to turn this upside down and fit it on top of that glass and kind of open it up. And then I'm just going to pour this in. Okay. After we've got it all in there, and I didn't put it all in there, but I'm going to kind of, I don't want to squeeze it too tight because it's going to start coming out. But I am going to kind of push it down so that there's no air right in there. And then I'm just going to kind of tie a knot in it. Okay. Okay, now that I've got that there, I'm going to put this over to the side. I've got toothpicks that I need. I'm going to be working on parchment paper. Now, if you notice, I've already done these right here. Aren't they so pretty? So anyway, what you can do is you can either do one at a time, or you can do mass production and just start doing a little bit at a time. I would only do like 5 at a time because this icing will dry out before you can sprinkle it. The other option that you have is this is just going to be clear, it's going to be white icing. If you notice, like these gingerbread men right here, for the buttons, it has white on underneath the buttons, and that's because that this is just going to be white. If you want to make it a different color, you can get these little icing colors. I would not get the icing that squirts out that's liquid because that's going to give you too much liquid, but this is just something that you can just dish out, and it doesn't take too long, too much of it, to make a different color. But that's another option. But for right here, we're just going to do the white, and we're going to use the sugar on top of it. Now let's just go ahead and put green right on top of here. And we're just going to sprinkle. And you can knock it off. I see some white right here to the side, so I can actually sprinkle that too if I want to, or I can just let it go. And I can take a toothpick and knock off some of the green if it's not on the right place. And now for the Christmas tree, and I'm going to let that dry. What you really want to do is let the colors dry and then do the rest of it. But if you're impatient, kind of like me, you go ahead and do it and just are probably pretty careful. Okay, we're going to outline this. And as you can see, you don't have to be a professional to do this because you can just fill it in. Now with these, the Christmas tree, I'm just going to put these little bitty miniature chocolate chips on first. And chocolate and lemon and gingerbread, they go together so well and are just super good. So if you are making this, let me know and put in the comments what you think about it, and if you use the lemon icing or if you use just regular royal icing or what you did. Okay. Put 2 more right here. And then all I'm going to do for the Christmas tree is, and you can use red. I've got some red little balls right here that I could have put down, but I like the chocolate. Now let's go back and we're going to finish up the stocking. Now we're going to just, how about let's use red. Shake it off. Now I can use my toothpick if I want and just kind of scrape this part off. And so now we've got 2 done. And I'm going to show you a gingerbread man. And then we'll stop. Okay. So for this one, oh, let's see. Let's give him some boots. And let's give him some mittens. Let's give him a little bit of a hair. We'll make all this, how about green? Now let's give them some buttons, and we'll put chocolate chips there. Let's give them some eyes, and let's give them a little bit of a red mouth. Anyway, there you have it. Just go ahead and decorate all the gingerbread cookies and let the kids help you. It's really fun, it's relaxing, especially if you don't have a timeline that you have to do it in. But anyway, just enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell so that you can be notified when the next video comes out. Thanks so much, and God bless. Hey Gary, How do you think they turned out?
Pretty good, I think. They're beautiful.
Yeah, I do too. I wonder if anybody's going to make them.
Well, if they make them, they'll eat them.
I know. I think I want one. Do you want one?
Yes.
Okay, come on. Let's go. Which one do you want?
I want this one.
I want the one right next to it. I love that lemon.
Delicious. Delicious.
Super soft. Also, just check out our channel on these delicious pecan pralines and how to make them. I've got the recipe and everything in the description. I go through tips about how to make them. Thank you.